I'm Matt Landau from VRMA, and this is Unlocked, Season 8, First Mover Status. Megan Carda of Lifestyle Properties in Oregon is one of the most brilliant hospitality professionals that I've ever met. Her refinement of a niche in wine country has led to splinters of opportunity beyond just vacation rentals in the form of a wine company, a restaurant, and tours, which gives Megan what she refers to as a multi-dimensional kind of first mover status. In this interview, we talk about the business case for going super deep, not wide, and doubling down on your specialty niche. But we also explore how we can use our businesses to transform ourselves and our lives. Megan is wise beyond her years in this regard. This episode's brought to you by PointCentral, the leaders in property automation for vacation rentals, and Breezeway, a property care and operations platform that helps your team communicate, coordinate, and verify your detailed craft. As with each episode this season, I've started off by asking Megan what first mover status means to you.
I look back and first mover status for me means taking a risk and believing in yourself, because those were the first two biggest steps that it took. And I was working in the industry just in hotels before this and in resorts, and always had a dream of doing something for myself. And when the opportunity started to arise, it was paying attention to that need and taking that leap of faith.
So, did they teach you this in school?
No, actually looking back, I realized I learned a lot in school, but what I didn't learn was how to believe. Like really, they're taught to follow instead of being the leader. And so that's all been a lot of my growth, and a lot of my failures have gotten me where I am today, but that's been definitely part of the hardest thing of growing a business, is being a leader and trusting in yourself. But you fail and you grow and you look back and you try not to make the same mistakes, or you go back and you apologize when you need to.
It's not really rocket science, and it works.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we could pretty much end the podcast right there, because we've really just inspired our listeners without any kind of preface as to who Megan Carda is. I was trying to think of the first time we met. Was it in LiveRez conference?
Yeah, I don't think you were at any of the other conferences I'd gone to before that. Possibly had heard your name, but the LiveRez conferences were, I think, where we first got to interact.
And it was in those first interactions that I very immediately noticed you were doing something special. And it's been really neat to watch your company grow over all those years. I often like to say that we get to watch our colleagues' journeys evolve right before our very eyes. And you're such a wonderful example. And for folks who don't know Lifestyle Properties, I'd like to walk through some of the main pieces of the website, because I think it's such a brilliant website, with the hope, Megan, that maybe you can just expound upon each of them. I've never done this before, but would you be up for that?
Yeah, maybe I should pull my website up so I can look at it with you.
Are you familiar with this material?
Yes, I did create it all. Well, I didn't build it. Thank you, LiveRez, for having the templates to make it look as beautiful as it is. But yes, lots of work went into the website.
And did you do all the copywriting yourself?
Yes, and I should go back and reread, because I know I do catch mistakes.
People who are intimidated by writing, or maybe just who are not great writers, there are copywriters out there that you can hire to write your descriptions and your listings.
Yeah, definitely. So last year we did get more heavy into marketing. And so I would start the basic listing description and then pass it over and then take it back for another round of fine tuning. But that was really helpful and saved a lot of time.
Having someone else describe your product, I feel like that only enhances it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first things first, about us. This is a locally owned and operated, from the heart of Oregon wine country, Lifestyle Properties is the area's premier vacation rental, and property management company. That for me is limited edition in a nutshell. You know exactly who you are, what you do, and this is something I'm guessing that people resonate with.
Yeah, this definitely is a line that is important for my staff to understand where we are operating at. It definitely helps my homeowners that are onboarding to feel confident that they are selecting a local based company that has a lot of pride and is going to uplift their home. But I picked this creating this sentence in particular through some of my growth in the local community with young professionals and going to chamber events. And you have to have a one-liner when you're standing up in those networking opportunities. So this kind of refined over the couple years, and so I've kind of stuck with it from there.
Love it. And then it moves into the story behind the company. Your parents entrusted their home to you?
Yes,
Is that how the
yes.
story moves?
So true. It did take a couple of months to convince my dad that it was a good idea. So I didn't know if he'd actually go for it, but they have this large home that all of us kids moved out of, and they never were going down to the basement, and it seemed like a perfect opportunity to renovate it. And I was working at the local resort here, and we had a wait list that could sell a hotel over. So I felt like I had enough time, spare time at that time, and knowledge to give it a go. And so my dad and we renovated it, and then my mom and I decorated it. And it's been around for 8 years now and it still looks beautiful. And I'm very proud of what it is. And we love having people into that shared space.
And do you feel when you meet other property managers, is sharing the backstory, the origins, something that works for everybody? Do you think? I mean, in sort of endearing our prospective guests to these really aspirational stories?
I think our story gives a lot of heart behind why we do what we do, especially in a service industry. It's not always glamorous. Definitely scrubbed a lot of toilets, plunged a lot of toilets in my time.
Sarah Bradford oftentimes likes to remind me that the tagline for our industry should be vacation rentals. We scrape poop off toilets.
It's pretty accurate.
So as long as they have a story, that makes sense. And perhaps it takes a little bit of experimenting with presenting how you fell into this, why you love the area. And you guys absolutely love the area. And this meet and greet section of the website is really that for me in a microcosm. Explain your relationship with tourism in the wine country in general.
Yeah, so when I first graduated high school, wine country was really not yet a thing in a sense of a destination. And so I had a passion to go into hospitality. And when doing so, I decided to leave Oregon because I didn't want to work in Portland in city hotels. And I wasn't really interested in moving out to the coast. The weather is not my favorite at the coast all the time. So as you experienced in October, I decided to pack up and leave. But in the time that I was gone, they built a resort here and it really started to generate tourism to the area. So restaurants started coming in, wine tour companies started coming in, and it became more than just a farming culture. You think of all the glamour of wine country. However, truly, it's just a means of farming. And so building the infrastructure around that is where our destination was created. And so I was able to move back home and actually be a part of the growth. And working in the resort, I got to know the community in a much different way than I had ever known it growing up as a kid. So being able to go and taste wine for the first time and participate in the breweries or the restaurants that I just hadn't done as 18 and younger, I really got to learn a lot and be able to expand my own knowledge and which helped me to create a really hospitality focused vacation rental company.
When you started this company, did you have a clear vision of what you wanted it to look like several years down the line?
Absolutely not. I'm still working on that. I'm still refining that, and it's coming together. It has a vision more now these days because I know myself better now that I'm getting later into life. I have a little bit more knowledge about what I would like to see my life look like. So now I get to refine the company to go in that direction. But I do also have a lot of passion for growth. And I think that what we are creating is meaningful and it does serve a purpose. And so even if down the road, there's for some reason I'm not in it or I'm not owning it or anything, I want this to be a business that can continue to thrive.
When a lot of our listeners hear that, I think that they want to be the person who does that, who sort of constantly reflects on their goals and the plan. What's the best advice to somebody to actually put that desire into action? Is there like an exercise that you go through?
I think absolutely, like sitting down and putting pen to paper and like working through goals for the year is really important. I start that process in the fall and make decisions on what we really need to work on throughout the winter. And winter for us here is our project mode. And so really refining what we need to get done in order to be ready for busy season again. Because once it hits, it just hits, especially now. We have a few short months to make any changes. And then we're back on our toes again and looking forward to the next year to see what we could do. I don't like to say better. What we like to say around here is that we are refining and shining, because it's so amazing how far we've gotten. And so at first I used to be like, oh, we're not quite there yet. But then I look back and I see everything that we have accomplished and what we have come through and what we have created. And so I don't want to ever put down anything that I've done in the past, but we're just now refining and shining.
I love it. Evolving, changing, like a human.
Yes.
That was the company currently manages how many properties?
So we will be roughly between 40 and 45 at the end of April. So this has been a little bit of a growth winter, which is really exciting. We finished the year up at 31 properties. And so definitely a lot of growth this winter.
And how many team members do you count on?
So in the winter, I try to keep on about 25 staff members. We do have everything pretty much in-house, from maintenance to housekeeping to reservations, concierge. We do have other branches of our business as well. So I have a wine tour company as well. So I need to keep that flowing. So that does add to the staff, but everybody kind of wears more hats than just one.
And folks, you heard that correctly. It's the second time that I've heard Megan casually drop the fact that she also has a wine company. Like, it's the way some people describe, I also have a desk, you know? Let's talk about your wine company, because for me, it's a really interesting extension of what's already a very focused niche. So can you walk us through what the wine company looks like and how it interacts with the vacation rental side?
Yeah, definitely. It was really quick that the wine company started. So I launched Lifestyle in May, and by that June, early July, we already had the wine tour company. When I was at the resort, we were booking a lot of wine tours for the clients that were coming in. And when our guests started booking at my parents' property, I just was as hospitable and asked them if they needed any extra services and if we could help plan anything for them. And the clientele that were coming into the house were just as eager to spend money as the ones that were going into the luxury resorts. In fact, they actually typically had more money to spend on experiences than sometimes staying in the resorts with the cost of that experience, as well as the time. So when you are booking a resort, you might want to enjoy the facilities more than enjoying the local area. So I started booking wine tours for guests coming into the vacation rental, and just on a phone call with the owner of my preferred company, he said, "Hey, do you have any interest in buying my wine tour business?" And I said, "I have no idea about buying a business, nothing at all about that, but yes. Let's work on this." So, and then it was like a month later that it just all kept going really fast.
And at the beginning of our conversation, you talked about being more of a leader. Just now, we talked about sort of calibrating your own personal life goals. Did the wine company fit into that new way of looking at life?
Yes, it definitely helps me to not be singularly minded on the vacation rental side.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me consider how to make that business healthy and strong. And doing that helps me to expand and dream of what other opportunities there are and that we can create. And that is part of my goal, is to create.
Thinking about new extensions of your existing niche, you said you're viewing this as its own separate company that needs to be profitable, and that it's kind of giving you multiple things to get excited about, as opposed to maybe having all your eggs in the vacation rental basket. Is this something that you could see yourself like doing with other experiences that guests are asking for? I know you have relationships with local coffee farmers. I know you do your local soaps. The connection between the destination and vacation rental visitors?
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing how much connection there can be on this side. And I think a lot of local businesses, they consider, oh, let's go partner with the local hotel. But it's amazing how much power and how much presence a vacation rental company can have in the area. And I know before we've started this growth of our business, we had 107 rooms in the valley that we were contributing to the local economy. And when I think about that, and I think about how large the hotels are, I'm like, we are equally as strong as the hotels. And so there are a lot of partnership opportunities. We were originally planning to grow the wine tour company into a wine shop as well, because we had so many of our guests coming in that were purchasing wine or needed to have that last stop of the day. So we ended up ruminating on what that idea could look like, and we actually ended up creating a restaurant from that. And the restaurant is doing
You've
incredible.
just completely outdone yourself. Wait, so how long has the restaurant been open now?
So we opened the restaurant in March of 2019. So March of 2020 was really fun and scary, but we were very fortunate that we were able to stay open 7 days a week, serving through a window. And then we had a large patio. So we covered that, added outdoor heaters because it is colder sometimes in Oregon. But we kept the restaurant going and afloat. And I feel that through that time of being open for our community, because there just weren't, there's probably like one other restaurant that was open during that time. And it really gave us a lot of goodwill. And we worked really hard to just keep it going and bring our staff back slowly but surely. And the restaurant's doing amazing now.
How do you possibly have enough hours in the day to give these individual and different kinds of branches attention?
It was important for me to evaluate what was happening and where I did want to put my attention. The restaurant gave us a huge opportunity to do in-house private dining and catering. But in the end, I actually, towards the end of 2021, decided to sell my portion of the restaurant and take a step back and go solely into the other sides of my businesses. I had to reevaluate what my life looked like, and the restaurant was doing very successful, and it gave me an opportunity to take full ownership of the other sides of the businesses and let that one flourish elsewhere. So we still have an incredible partnership with the restaurant. You do get pulled away when you do start growing. So the restaurant has taught me, PinotCar has taught me lots of valuable lessons about growing businesses, having the right partners, having dedicated teams that know what they're doing, and giving people the confidence and the leadership and the tools that they need in order to help you to run the business.
Let's talk about your actual schooling. I'm curious if your hospitality management education and maybe your time working in hotels as well, do you think this gives you an advantage as a vacation rental professional in an industry that maybe doesn't have formal education or training?
Yeah, I do think that there was a lot of great lessons learned from school. I got to see a bird's eye view of all the departments that a hotel would have, which is very similar to a vacation rental. I feel like we can sometimes have different departments, with the real estate aspect that you wouldn't learn going to hotel school. However, the accounting, the marketing, the maintenance and housekeeping, some of those larger topics are very similar to a hotel. And then my school or my time in working in resorts, I definitely learned a lot there. And that's where I try to build my business. So I like to treat every vacation rental like a mini resort. How do we make it feel like that when the guests come? And so, working at some of the top places in the world, I was able to see what they were doing and directly bring those products, those ideas, that level of service, the attention to detail in our reservations team and our concierge team to make sure that those experiences are being delivered all the way through. I know that not many people take all the steps that we do in vacation rentals, but between every guest stay, there's 4 different people going to the property to verify that it is accurate and ready and staged perfectly for the next guest arrival.
And for those who are maybe thinking about getting started in the vacation rental industry and maybe have a vacation home that they somehow have access to, what are some of those first things that you advise when it comes to turning a property into an experience?
First, you need to experience it. So get in and actually try it out, test it out. What does it feel like to actually stay there? I remember my first guest checking in called me up when I was out on my run, and they're like, we could really use a sponge. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I bet you could. Let me go get one and I will bring that right over. So little details like that. And then I know I've stayed at vacation rentals before and they just won't have a fully stocked kitchen. And when you're coming away and you're looking to have those spaces and to actually cook, you do want the whisk to mix up pancake batter in the morning. It's a lot easier than having just a fork. So those little touches and what it feels like to be in it really help you to make sure that you are delivering on a true a guest experience that people are going to be happy with. So get in there, experience it. And then other details that I take away from hotels, I'm always everything needs to be white towels, white sheets, needs to look clean and crisp. And then just down to different toiletries in the bathrooms or having enough toilet paper during your stay really makes a big difference. So the guests don't have a hotel lobby to go down to. Yes, they can go out to the store, but how can you try to make it feel like they don't have to go for any of those little details that just take away from their visit to the area?
Have you been experimenting and finding any success with environmentally friendly investments and marketing and commitments?
I definitely feel that we try to find ways to be environmentally friendly. It is challenging, not impossible, but I feel that would be an area of opportunity for us for sure to continue more than just the basics that we have going on right now with our environmentally friendly laundry soaps or trying to be conservative in different aspects. We even ask we have our guests, when we do our own in-house trash services for our guests so that there's no trash cans outside on the curb. But one of our bins is for recycling, for combing, for bottle returns and stuff like that. That sounds like such a simple thing, but we donate all of those proceeds back to local charities and they earn quite a bit of money. So it takes it takes time to
Wow.
collect the cans, but my team does it, and then depending on the charity that gets to collect that, and now it's 10 cents in Oregon, so it actually adds up to quite a bit of money.
Wow, that is absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody doing that. With regards to your um, community involvement, I ask environmentally friendly, but our community is the environment in which we operate. And everything you do, it sounds like, is rooted with local and doing things the right way. Are there tools that you don't think you could pull this kind of success story off without?
I think technology is great. I think when it comes to local and the community, being present is the most impactful tool that you can have. So if I didn't spend time visiting the wineries, if I didn't spend time talking with the local florist, if I didn't make those connections, I'm not sure if those partnerships would be there if I didn't spend the time cultivating those relationships.
Wow, you completely blew my question out of the water. I was more thinking like your tech stack. You totally took that next level.
Oh, well, we've been really excited about a new tool that has helped our guests get more connected to the local area, or even just more connected back to us so that we can help reconnect them. So in that sense, we do have a really cool tool. So we started working with RueBaRue this last winter. So my belief is, especially because I do have so much other activity going on besides just the vacation rental company, is that I seek out one tool every year to bring on. And the last season, my reservations and concierge team have just been exploding. They're excited. They know their role inside and out. And so when I went to make my decision on which tech that we were going to bring on in 2021, 2022, I decided that a guest guidebook was going to be the next step. Let's refine and shine that area. So in interviewing different companies out there, NARS was amazing and his staff was awesome. And I felt really great. And I felt like they help us create what my dream was. And it has looked so beautiful. If you think that our website looks great, you would love to look at this guidebook because we have put so much time into it, countless hours. And, eventually Rebecca was just saying, you just got to launch it. You just got to start. You just got to turn it on. But we have this passion for making everything look beautiful, of course. So we did decide to turn it on and we're still refining it, but it is just an incredible growth in our guest communication. It allows us to text with our guest, and we did text before, but nothing on this level. Every single guest texts now of all different ages. And whether it's just to say thank you or it's to request something or letting us know when they arrive. Oh my gosh, we know so much more about when they arrive to the house, when they check out. If there's ever any little maintenance things, they will send us a message and we'll be right there, more than the hearing about it afterwards. So that has been awesome. But it allows us to show the valley in a beautiful way. People can click the link to go directly book an appointment at a winery or make a restaurant reservation, or we also have the opportunity to sell. So reach out to us about booking a wine tour. Reach out to us about having a cheese board amenity in your room for arrival. Reach out to us about having flowers for your arrival or grocery shopping. Oh my gosh, it's almost like every single guest is ordering groceries this year. So it's just been such an easy access for them to have something that they never even believed that they could have when staying in a vacation rental.
Folks, there are certain instances in which adopting a single tool or piece of technology gives you automatic first mover status in your local market simply because none of your competitors are using it just yet. And I'm going to go completely off script here. Our two sponsors have provided me with copy to read, but I want to read from the heart because these are two tools that are making significant differences for all of their partners. The first is Breezeway, which is a property care and operations platform, and it effectively allows you to more efficiently communicate with your team. There's so many nuances that go into a great guest experiences. We talk often about this phrase, operational complexity. That is vacation rentals in a nutshell, and our colleagues are exceptionally good at it. But it doesn't mean you need to be doing all the things manually, and it certainly doesn't mean that there won't be holes in your communication with your team. So by using a tool like Breezeway, you're improving all of that existing workflow, and you're freeing up time to do stuff that gets you credit in the eyes of your guests. And eliminating many, many hours of manual work is a blessing these days. You can head over to breezeway.io/VRMB. And when you sign up for a demo, if you decide to use the tool, they will waive implementation fees. That's a $1,000 value right there, simply because you mentioned our show. The second tool is PointCentral, which is smart property solutions, smart locks, smart thermostats, HVAC analytics, water leak detectors. These are all wrapped into one bundle. And by giving you, the property owner or manager, access to all of these controls from wherever you happen to be, this is a huge time saver. Not to mention the amount of smiles on the faces of your guests. Instead of having to come to your office, wait in line late at night after a day of traveling to get a key, your guests go straight to the home, they type in their code, and with an activity log that shows you when people are entering and leaving, you can also pass information along to your cleaning and maintenance teams, making them far happier in the process. PointCentral, along with Breezeway, is just one of these tools that once you start using it, you could literally not have things any other way. Head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB, and let's get back to the show. And in terms of revenue that's generated from these sales, it pays for the cost of the tool, I'm guessing.
Yes, we try not to generate a lot of revenue off of our concierge services. That's not necessarily our goal with it. Our concierge services is a tool to onboard new homeowners. It's a tool to attract new guests. But really what happens is it's a powerful tool of building repeat business. People walk away and they say that it's the best experience that they've ever had. And when they feel that way, that they're going to go and tell their friends. And they do. And we get houses booked out and guests saying, oh, my friend stayed here, or we've stayed at this house 8 times now and we just have to come back, or we love staying at this house, but we had just as great of an experience at this property. So our direct booking and homeowner acquisitions from having our concierge services is really what makes it. So we don't try to overprice or overcharge for those services.
What's your next piece of technology that you're going to add this coming year?
So we definitely need some sort of like project management tool with everything that's going on. That's definitely the obvious next step. I have started doing research. It's very challenging. That I don't think that there's not many companies out there that truly are as multi-dimensional as ours, and then trying to connect back to our PMS system and making it all flow. And so, as you know, the industry is just growing and there's a lot more tools out there, but I don't know if there is a perfect solution for us yet. So whether that's creating something or finding a partner like NARS who wants to help create a really dynamic project management tool for the hospitality industry, that's probably what I'm looking at for next.
And adding on new pieces of technology are such critical decisions. Can you walk us through your justification for attending conferences? And I'm guessing doing demos and speaking with other colleagues about these potential tools in that decision-making process?
Oh, yes. So conferences have definitely helped me. So going to the VRMA conference was where I started to seek out my first tool, the property management tool. And I learned very quickly that talking to other property managers, that you learn a lot. Especially for me, I'm a very much so of a connector, and having good partnerships is really important to me. So real, like watching different managers and see which tool they picked up, hearing them talk about the customer service or the interactions with the onboarding process. That's really what led me to LiveRez way back when, and 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, was those genuine partnerships and that authenticity of how I really felt like they were going to help our company and grow. And they certainly have. They're having the instant book website, like that. There's nothing better than being able to have guest book online. But then getting into LiveRez, then I really refined when I started going to the LiveRez conferences. So like-minded managers, and asking them what other tools they were using. So that led me to talking to everybody about what's the best pricing tool that you have out there, and which one connects back to the system the best, which one is going to give me the opportunity to control it the way that I want to control it. Which guidebook are your staff enjoying using? What are the reasons that they like using that? So I definitely learn a lot by going to conferences, and truly just talking with people is so crucial. Is if you only attend the seminars, you're only gathering just a very small piece, but the connections that we can get from talking with like-minded people and asking genuine questions. And you have to be real. You have to really talk about, this is a true problem that I'm facing, and I genuinely want to make it better. And people in our industry, they are very welcoming. They're very open to share, and they want you to work. They want you to be better. That's what I love about the professional vacation rental network, is that we all want each other to succeed so that we all can stay relevant in doing what we love.
Folks, I'd like to call your attention to this sentiment because I think it deserves to be sung from the mountaintops. Attending an industry event means putting yourself in a room with a bunch of first movers, just like Megan, in their respective destinations. And when you do that, even if you're not super serious or outgoing or don't even really enjoy the research, you're hacking the learning and growth process by simply placing yourself in the middle of everybody else's first mover development. By copying their experiences and discoveries as your own, you earn an unfair advantage over your local competitors. And this is really amazing, simply by attending an event. If you're wondering what conference is right for you this year, I'll include a robust discussion from VRMB communities in our show notes. It has people like Megan recommending events and comparing notes on how to get the most out of them. Okay, on to the last segment of our fun conversation here. I want to end talking about people because I know it's an important part of your business. First of all, what's the biggest thing you've learned about hiring and or retaining great people in the last 5 years or so?
Treating people with respect is the number one most important thing. 100%. If you don't treat people with respect, they are going to seek somebody else that will give them that. Especially with the ever-changing workforce and the climate right now. People do ask why I still have the strong team that I have. And I believe that it's the communication, it's the care, it's the time that I put into each of them. It's showing them that I would be willing to do anything that they're doing. And they've seen that, especially over these last few years. They've seen me do anything and everything. And that just motivates them to want to work with me and know that their boss genuinely cares about them. And I give people chances, and there's a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn as a growing leader and manager in this side of hiring the right people and interviewing with the right questions. But right now in this stage of my business, it's been about growth and heart and sharing my vision and sharing my passion with them is what has helped me to get where we are today.
Hmm. And where do you find yourself looking for great team members these days?
Um, a lot of word of mouth. It's very similar to how our company has grown with homeowners. Our staff has really grown with people, with our team members bringing in friends and family. And we do use some other sort tools out there, Indeed and ZipRecruiter or different things like that to find candidates when we're like in a crunch time and we need to figure it out and we haven't grown organically. But for example, our housekeeping department, we're just finally getting out of our busiest slow season, and we've been talking to the team about, all right, come February we need to start hiring and for this department to be ready for the season ahead. And they've all been ready to bring in their friends and family. And when it came time that I said let's go, it was the next week that they were all there with their ready to get started. And they believe in having their friends and family work with this company because we work very hard to treat them well and not overwork them and give them praise, give them rewards, and pay them well for the hard work that they truly are doing. So they're willing to invite their friends and family. And that has definitely been a huge help to growing our staff.
And in addition to your amazing team, I'm curious about people through the lens of being an advocate, a local leader with regards to regulation. Why do you do that? Can you help people understand why it's important to have your finger on the pulse of the regulatory stuff?
I can watch and see what's happening in other places, and I am acutely aware that anything can change at any moment. And so I try to participate so that I can stay on top of anything that might be changing in the arena. That way I can not only be looking out for our business and looking ahead, but also helping homeowners to make good decisions on whether to bring on a property or if it's likely going to have a situation in the future. It's very important to pay attention to regulations. And so I do sit on a lot of local tourism committees and give my insight. It's also really important to share with them what we do bring to the economy and share that it is relevant, especially with like affordable housing issues that are rising, especially in our local area and other destination areas. I know that they also are similarly impacted. Trying to be mindful to not bring on properties that really should be used for families. Or, I was working with a homeowner recently and they were presenting a couple of houses and it was right next to a school. And it just decided to be myself and share with them that this is literally across from a school. I really think that this property would be better used as a family home. And they wrote me back and were very encouraged to continue to work with me. And they decided to skip on that house because they agreed that it should be for a family. So if I can continue to not bring on houses that are not ideal vacation rentals, and they are more ideal for the local community, then I feel like I can always, that I'm also contributing to my community where these are sensitive topics because we all do need somewhere to live.
Amen. On this final regulatory front, have you guys had any threats potentially compromise your business?
I think the biggest threat is currently right now is not being a good player. And we hear this all the time is, people not taking care of their properties, people allowing parties where they shouldn't be taking place. That is part of the local aspect of our company and the boots on the ground. By me having 25 team members year round and then more in the summer, like our homes are my staff lives in the neighborhood or in the same areas as these homes. We drive by these properties all the time. We are definitely paying attention, having communication tools like RueBaRue to really get to know our guest even more, and them feeling like we're so much more connected to them. All these little details help us to communicate and know our guests better, and then also not allowing over occupancy, and diving into getting to know the guest if there's ever a feeling that there could be an issue, and taking proper steps to still welcome but also protect. And that is what we're hired for, is not only to generate revenue, but it is also to keep these homes safe, is to keep these communities safe. I think that all these different steps that we take to do that is very important, and just not allowing our company to permit different types of stays, and that we do take care of our guests that are coming into the homes, and taking care of the homes is really important. And so I think that's the biggest threat, is potentially not having good players in the area or homeowners. I love to share information. I'll do presentations on vacation rentals in my community. With our tourism DMO, we will host like a yearly talk about vacation rentals, and I get an opportunity to share. And then I hope that every time I can do that, I can be an advocate. I can help coach even the individual homeowner how to be a little bit better and a little bit stronger about taking care of their property. Or, hey, you really need to pay your lodging taxes. And they're like, oh, we had no idea that there were lodging taxes to be paid. So if I can continue to share and continue to encourage others to do well, and then also be acting above par in our community, I feel that we can have success and not be at risk. But it really does, I think that that's the biggest issue that does come into play. And when I'm watching what's happening in other communities, affordable housing is always like the target of conversation, but really it's about, do the neighbors feel safe? So we have to protect that.
Incredible. I don't think I've ever heard the job of a vacation rental professional explained in this way, that cuts straight through the noise and the hype and holds ourselves, the core stakeholders, accountable. My big takeaway here from our conversation with Megan and her company, Lifestyle Properties, is that our sector is made for lifestyle businesses. That is to say, vacation rental companies that generate a profit and create local jobs, but also that satisfy our personal needs, that challenge us with personal growth, that fulfill our dreams and our goals, like owning a wine company or running a restaurant. And that when you follow these aspirations, you kind of create a first mover status in your market. You become multi-dimensional in this way. When you lead with that passion and maybe fail and then say sorry and then go and lead again, when you refine and shine, you change things. If you enjoyed Megan's story and her perspective and would like to join her and me, along with 1,000 of the world's most thoughtful vacation rental professionals collaborating daily under one virtual roof, join our private community at vrmb.com/membership. Let us help you refine and shine in your market. Here's a teaser for next week's interview with Virginia Ivy of Ivy Vacation Rentals. These interviews are getting seriously inspiring.
I have, in the past several decades, grown confidence and courage and experience through living in, operating, and innovating in areas that others do not see value in yet. And I believe that is technically, I'm the first to move into an area and create something successful that then I watch I watch grow with a tidal wave after me.
Make sure you're subscribed so that the episode goes straight to your phone or download it or something. Until next week.